Good evening, people, and welcome to a list video of the one and only Charlie Chaplin, Sir Charles Chaplin. I did one of his short films. I did Buster Keaton's short films and feature films. Finally getting around to doing my favourite Charlie Chaplin films, feature films. Now, some feature films could be considered short films, and some short films could be considered feature films. There's one called The Pilgrim that is like 45 minutes long. There's one called Shoulder Arms, which is 45 minutes long. One organisation calls them short films, one organisation calls them feature films. Buster Keaton's Sherlock Jr. is 45 minutes long. That's classed as a feature film. So to save all that, we're going to do the films that are regarded as full-length feature films, and they are those. Now, he directed and wrote all of them. He didn't star in two of them. He had a cameo in Countess from Hong Kong and a cameo in A Woman of Paris. So we'll scrub them, and then we're left with those. So that's what we're going to go with, those 9 right there. And they come from these box sets. That one, which I bought first, now out of print. Fantastic set. And while not as good of a set, you know, visually wise, this is a Blu-ray set, that's a DVD set. That has the 42 version of the Gold Rush, that doesn't. The transfer for one of the films in this is blurry. When they move, their faces are blurred and stuff like that. So when I watched it, I had to go and watch that one, which is fine by me. But either way, 9 Chaplin films that he directed, he wrote, mostly composed the music, and he starred, and he was in them. So bottom of the pile, because something has to always be bottom of a list. I don't dislike it. I don't dislike any of these. But it's a king in New York. He plays a king who gets disposed, doesn't get disposed of. He gets dethroned because there's a revolution in his country, and he goes to New York. It's just an okay film. It's great watching Chaplin, and his son's in this, but it's just an okay film. So, A King in New York. Number 8 is A Great Dictator. I think most people know this from the speech at the end. The speech at the end is an 11 out of a 10 film. The stuff with the Jewish barber and in the ghettos, I love that. Then we get to Adenoid Hinkle and we see all that stuff. It's not quite as interesting, but I still don't mind it. So that's A Great Dictator. I put no years down. King of New York, 57. Great Dictators, the 40s. Next one, 1925, I want to say, The Gold Rush. Very first Chaplin film I saw, 2014 it was. I think it was September. I opened the door. I remember sitting over there. I sat over there, right here, and I watched The Gold Rush online, and I loved it, and then I bought that set. Now that I've seen more, no, that's wrong. As I went on and I watched more Chaplin, The Gold Rush dropped a bit, but it's jumped up a little bit more. As I said, I like the 42 version when he has a voiceover and stuff are different, but The Gold Rush, Prospector, all that stuff in the snow and in the little cabin is great. When he goes into a town and a girl comes involved, it's quite sad and melancholy at times. And I find in the sad stuff in Chaplin's film hits a little bit harder as I get older. And he has that dance with the potatoes, widely regarded as the first person to do it, but you watch online, Fatty Arbuckle did it, not as elaborate as Chaplin, but Fatty Arbuckle sticks 2 forks in, I think they're potatoes, and does a dance. But The Gold Rush is a fine film. Number 6, The Circus. He finds himself on the run and he ends up in a circus, meets a girl, and he also finds himself in a cage with a lion. That's fun. It really is fun. I like it. I like them all. Should stop saying that, shouldn't I? Number 5, widely regarded as his best film, City Lights from 1931. Kind of two stories. He comes across this young girl. She's a blind flower seller, and it's like, shit, that hits. That does hit. Poor girl. So he kind of falls in love with her. She thinks he's rich, and when he saves a rich man from throwing himself into the water with a stone wrapped around him. He saves him. Reminds me of a Laurel and Hardy scene, but Laurel and Hardy was a little bit funnier. But this guy, he saves him. He's his best friend, but he only wants to know him when he's drunk. When he's sober, he wants nothing to do with the tramp. Those two storylines will merge into each other, and it's just that with the blind girl is more interesting than with the drunk guy who doesn't give a shit about him when he's sober. But still, stuff with the blind girl just hits you. Didn't used to hit me, but now it does. So that's it. And this is a film that also hits me as well. Number 4, Limelight, a talkie, 50 something, 54 maybe, 57, I don't know. He plays a faded vaudeville star called Calvero. Very sad to see him. He saves this young girl from killing herself. She's quite sad, and they kind of strike up a friendship, and they help each other. And then the ending hits you in the gut. But a very good film. Plus, it's got Buster Keaton in it. First time I watched it, I didn't even know it was Buster Keaton, because I'd never seen Buster Keaton before. But Buster Keaton's in it at the end, which, just like with Arnold and Sly, you just wish you'd have seen them together earlier. But number 4, that is. Number 3, Monsieur Verdoux. Not sure it'll be this high in other people's list, but another talkie. He's a wife-killing bigamist. He marries wealthy women and he murders them. That shouldn't be funny, but maybe black comedy. But I like that one. I just like it. I don't know why it struck me. The very first time I saw it, it just struck me. I watched it again a couple of months back, and I enjoyed it. I love hearing Chaplin talk. So, Monsieur Verdoux. Number 2, Modern Times. And this list is very fluid, apart from the top 2. They can all switch around apart from the top 2. Number 2, Modern Times. The tramp is in the modern age, struggling with demands of the modern world. He's in a factory. It's kind of hard. It's a little bit talky, because the boss of the factory comes on a big screen and says a few words. But he has a nervous breakdown, ends up in prison, gets accused of being a communist, meets a girl, and all that kind of stuff. It's very good, highly enjoyable from top to bottom. And when they get their first home together, a little shack, it's nice. But number 1, 1921, The Kid, is fantastic. Loved it from the first moment I saw it. Jackie Coogan is the little kid, is wonderful, goes around breaking windows, throws stones at windows, and then the tramp comes around with windows on his back. Is wonderful. And Jackie Coogan, when he's getting ready to throw a stone, pulls it back. There's a copper behind the way. He just looks and then runs off. For a little kid, that is wonderful. And there's emotion in this when the kids took off him. Just damn good stuff. So they are my favourite Chaplin feature films that he directed and starred in. Take out the other ones. Countess from Hong Kong, I don't care about. I've seen it once. It was boring. And A Woman of Paris, I've only seen that one, so that would be down the bottom of the list as well. But anyway, there you go. That is what I've just gone off for this video. There's my notes. Thanks for watching. Chaplin, a master of his craft. And comments are welcome.